Hey everybody, AaronSansoni here, ready for another Aaron Live. And you know what? This is our last one of 2018. It's our last show, 12 shows. Connor, we've done 12 shows from concept. Right, there we go. Yeah, round of applause for that, right? So listen, this is our last Aaron Live, and it's our last ever Aaron Live because next year we've got some huge things that are happening. So this is going to be a big show because it's our last one that we're going to be doing, and it's really going to be a special one because it's dedicated to our foundation, the AaronSansoni Foundation, and all the amazing things we've done this year. So if you're just joining in right now, welcome to another episode, another live show right around the world of Aaron Live, where what we want to do here is help you as a business owner, an entrepreneur, wherever you are right now to be able to live a life and by design, have the business and the life that you want. So how about we start and we get rocking and rolling with another episode, the last one of the year of Aaron Live. And we're back. Welcome to Aaron Live, everybody. All right, so if you are just joining us, where have you been all year? Under a rock? This is our 12th show, for goodness sakes, right? So we are here for about 45 minutes, an hour, hanging out with Aaron Live, and we're going to be sharing with you the latest and the greatest of what's been happening in the world of business, right around the world, and entrepreneurship as well. We're going to be giving you some business news. We're going to be talking about some things that are doing really well right now, who's crushing it. I'm going to give you some feedback on who I think is not crushing it right now. I'm going to train you guys in Mentor Minute. We're going to talk about some cool stuff. And at the end of today, we get to do this amazing thing we call Aaron's Advice, which is going to be right at the end. So you've got questions, you can get them in early with the hashtag Aaron's Advice in the comments. You can also email in studio@aaronsansoni.com with your questions. And we had a couple of questions at the end. And of course, we're doing our top 10. We always love our top 10, don't we, Connor?
Top 10 is my favorite.
It's your favorite one, right? We've got a good top 10 as well. So let's get started with our very first segment on Aaron Live, and that is called the Biz News. The Biz News. Okay, so what's been happening in the world of business news? There's been a lot happening, right? And I think it's towards the end of the year, everyone decides to launch all this stuff that's going on and get into the new year as well. So the first thing that's happening on the biz news for us, I want to talk about one of our favorite companies. Why not? Because it's one of the most impressive in the world, which is Amazon. Now, Amazon had been around for obviously a while, but in Australia launching very, very heavily with their supermarkets. But one of the biggest things that's happening is they've just announced that they're going to be launching their new subscription service. It's a subscription and save service with their online shopping. Now, online shopping is about a $3 billion, food and groceries this is about a $3 billion industry in Australia. So they're going to be offering a subscribe and save model where you can buy really common stuff that you might want to buy, like dishwashing liquid and dog food and all that fun stuff at a cheap price. So I'm really interested to see what Woolworths or Safeways, really. Some of you guys are not old enough to remember what Safeways is. Safeways and Coles are going to do about this, because if they're sitting on their hands doing nothing now, they're screwed. So Amazon launching a big thing into the market now, and they're saying they are going to be focusing on pet food to begin with, and a lot of the things that most people buy, and it's going to be heavily, and I quote, heavily discounted. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens there. Amazon taking over shopping centers and life in general right now. Amazon are all over it. So Amazon, our first biz news. Number 2 on the biz news, sad biz news. Everyone knows who this guy is. Everyone knows the company. But the 100-year-old, one of the founders of Godfrey's, John Johnson, has passed away. This gentleman made news, really recently for passing away only a couple of days ago, and 100 years old. He made 100. Do you reckon he just waited to be 100? Like, is that like I just want to get to 100?
Maybe. I was talking. My grandpa turned 80 recently.
Did he?
I said, Wow. Have you learned anything yet?
But 80 to 100 is another 20 years you're alive. It's not short.
How long are you planning on keeping this going, man? Like,
how long do you want to stay around for? So he made 100.
I wanted that letter from the Queen.
And that's it, and you're done. And then you're done, right? So he 100 years old, but you know, very importantly, Godfrey's, their first store, I think, was in the 30s. Let me find the date, 30s, 36. In Melbourne was their first store, the Godfrey's chain, and have done huge things around Australia. And just to survive in business for that long, for 80 years, is a huge thing as well. So big business news, John Johnson passing away recently for Godfrey's. It's still a family-owned business, and they've said it's going to continue as it is, as well as a family-owned business as well. So that's made this news. Number 3, a company that we really can never do a show without speaking about is either Elon Musk or it's these guys, right? So Elon Musk, is he in the show today? I don't think he's in the show. That's just sad. We should have made a whole Elon Musk special. Shit, we should have done that. So listen, it's finally been released and all the documents are in the IPO, the initial public offering for Uber, is happening. So this company privately has voted about $76 billion. They've raised about $18 billion, I think, in the last 8 years from 2010, $18 billion privately. When they look to IPO, the estimates are they'll be worth about $167 billion at their IPO, which is about almost $100 billion more than they are now. This is going to be huge. It's going to be happening next year. The paperwork is in. And also next year is going to be massive year for IPOs. You've got Slack, which is going to be IPOing, and from memory, I think Airbnb are as well. So huge. Now, when they do float, Uber, that'll be the largest float, I think, in history at that price point as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So they've made the biz news. Watch out for these guys if you want to get into Uber and look at having a slice of yourself. Anyone can get involved now. You don't just have to have $100 million. There you go. You can get involved in Uber. So that's in 2019 will be the largest IPO on record. Well done, Uber. That is the biz news. All right. So let's talk about our next up. We're going to be talking about crushing it. Now, this is just cool because it's just cool to hear that Australians doing some pretty fun stuff here, right? So the Australian Space Agency, yeah, you heard it. We have our own space agency. When I first read about this and I spoke to someone about this, they said, really? Do we have our own space agency? We do have our own space agency. So they've just announced their new headquarters are going to be in Adelaide. Don't know why. There's nothing against Adelaide, by the way. I love Adelaide, right?
We just gotta have something.
There's got to be something in Adelaide, right? There's got to be something besides beautiful rolling hills and great wines, right? So listen, these guys just have announced the Space Agency, $41 million in funding, and they're hoping that by 2030 that the space industry in Australia will be generating $12 billion with 20,000 jobs, which is huge. Now, the implications of that have a lot of business effects as well. So anyone that's involved, there's a couple of guys that are involved already, by Fleet Space Technologies are involved, and a few other companies are involved in the space race at the moment. So this is huge for the business industry of Australia, let alone on Adelaide as well. So that's really good, big significant news. And we even have a NASA astronaut that was born in Adelaide. There you go. That's why they're going there. Andy Thomas, he's a NASA astronaut born in Adelaide, and he said it's a perfect place to go to. Of course he does. He's fucking born there, right? He has to say that, yeah? So there you go. Space Agency, Australia. We're going to have our own rocket ships. We're going to have our own whole thing. It's going to be really cool, right? There you go. You have to just have a look at what NASA are doing. So there you go. Crushing it goes to the Australian Space Agency. I personally am looking forward to going up to space at some point. I told my daughter that's going to be her 18th birthday present, because by then it's going to be like, do you want to go to Tasmania, space, Fiji? What do you want to do, right? Don't you think? 15 years, I think it's going to be. So there you go. They get our Crushing It Award, Australian Space Agency. Well done, guys. Crushing It Award. And I've been saying award now for 12 months, yet we still don't have an award. No. So I think we're going to have to get an award.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll send that. I promise that I'll send this to the Australian Space Agency if they guarantee me that he will go on the first flight up by an Australian space ship to the moon. Then you can have him, right? He can be imagine him on the dashboard.
Yes.
There you go. That's what you want. G-Force to just take him off, right? Ah, right. So listen, Australian Space Agency, call me. We'll do lunch. Okay. Now, we're going to go into some fun stuff called the Mentor Minute, where I get a chance to train you guys and I get a chance to share with you some amazing things that I want to share with you. And this time it's going to be about, by talking about one of my amazing, why is he still here? Are we talking about one of my mentors? Oh, that's funny, man. That's funny. One of my mentors, something that I look up to, but what I've learned from this guy as well. So we'll be back after a very, very quick, short break with the Mentor Minute. See you guys in a second. All right, we are back, and that was just a very quick video about really just going through what we've done this year for and with the AaronSansoni Foundation. So that was just highlighting some of the amazing work this year. So a big shout out to number one, Oz Harvest, who we decided to team up with this year as part of the AaronSansoni Foundation. We decided to give back and work with one partner, and that partner was Oz Harvest. This year we made a declaration to say we're going to raise $125,000 and we're going to feed 250,000 Australians that couldn't afford to, feed themselves, or they're going through a rough time as well. Working with Oz Harvest, which are a food rescue organisation. So what they do is they help rescue all the food around Australia, get it to their premise, and they make it into food that they can then give out to charities, over 1,000, then to distribute that out to the people that are in need as well. So well done to Oz Harvest. We teamed up with them. I had a big audacious goal of $125,000 this year, and I'm very proud that this year we raised close to $40,000 from all of our supporters this year. So every one of you that's watched the show or come to one of our events have been involved with our foundation. Thank you for everything you've done. And those of you that are watching that have donated, thank you for everything you've done this year. And my wife and I also pledged to personally give $85,000. And so all up, we raised $125,000. And there was a great photo of us handing that check over. And my son Roman, his head was just above the check. You could see him, right? Handing that check over to Ronnie Khan, the founder of Oz Harvest as well. So a quick moment to thank everybody that supported the AaronSansoni Foundation and all the team behind the scene, as including some of the team that are in this room at this very second, that made everything happen for our foundation this year and fed 250,000 Australians this year as well. So thank you for all your support. Round of applause to you and for all of you that are in here to make that happen as well. So a big achievement. Okay, so now we're into the Mentor Minute. Now, one of my mentors I've had for a very long time, somebody that I've been very privileged of sharing the stage with numerous times when I had hair and when I didn't. And every time I see him, he looks more fabulous than ever before, right? This is Richard Branson. And this is him and I hanging out at one of our last events we got to spend some time at. And you know what? I'm always in awe of what he has done in business, and what he's been able to accomplish and what he's been able to do. So what I've decided to do for the Mentor Minute this time is to share with you some of the things that I've learned from watching him do his keynotes, from reading his books, from writing about him in my book Think Like, which is available on Amazon if you haven't grabbed a copy. Think Like, and just learning what he's done and how he's created what he's done. And any moment I get like one of these where I get to pick his brain, I'm always looking at things that I can learn from somebody who's created what he's done in his kind of style. So I thought I'd speak to you guys about what I've learned from Sir Rich and some of the things that I think make him amazing. So one of the things that I loved about him And when I look at the way that he approaches business and life is the idea and the art of delegation. So if you're out there right now and you're a business owner, one of the biggest things you have a problem with is letting go. One of the biggest things you have a problem is letting somebody else take care of sales or take care of service or, be in charge of operations or something that maybe you were in charge of. Because let's face it, any great business or any small business started with an idea and the founder. So at some point, the founder had to start trusting other people to be able to take care of things. And one of the hardest things as being a business owner or being a manager is having trust and faith in your team that they can do it. But the reality is that Sir Richard Branson couldn't have 400 companies and $5.5 billion worth of assets and be as cool as he is and live on an island for 6 months in the year if he didn't delegate. So the art of delegation is absolutely critical. So when I look at the way that he delegates, for him, having people around him that can take care of certain things, that screen his calls, that take care of his emails, that run his calendar, that take care of all those duties and the things that they need to do. That art of delegation as an individual person within the Sir Richard Branson empire has been a really key thing for him. I see whenever I've met him, the last time I was with him backstage, he had 5 or 6 people that were with him, not there just to say, you're the best, Sir Richard. They weren't the Floyd Mayweather with all these guys, saying you're the best, right? They weren't being an entourage at all. They were executing different parts of their job role, whether it be somebody that's following around doing digital, whether it be, his PA Helen who's looking after him, or whether it be, Debbie who takes care of all of his tours and his logistics. Everyone is coming along for the ride, but they've got a very specific role that he's delegated out to, so he can just do what he does, which is be the creative genius, which is come up with the ideas, which I'm going to be showing you in a second as well. The art of delegation is a key skill of any entrepreneur. And what I love about Sir Richard is that he's achieved one of those things that everyone's looking at saying, how do I do it? The elusive thing, right? Where you've got money, you've got influence, but you've also got time to do what you want to. And he's achieved that. And one of the major reasons he says that he has achieved what he's done is through the art of delegation as well. I think it's a key thing. Second is leveraging his brand. He was the first person, I think, really, that created this mainstream idea of creating a brand like the Virgin brand and then using that right across everything else. Look at the idea of what he has now. This is just some of his 400 companies that share the Virgin name. So using his brand, leveraging off that to then create new customers. Some of us, on this stream are probably old enough to remember the very first credit card that he brought out that had the little curve, right? And you could choose the colors. You could choose the pink, the black, or whatever the other one was. Maybe it was blue. And no one had ever done that to a credit card before. And when he launched Virgin Money and Virgin credit cards, what he did is he launched that to the marketplace that already used Virgin Mobile. They already flew on Virgin Blue back in the day. And he launched that here in Australia, and using the leverage of his brand, using the leverage of people that already were supplying to him, the customers, the staff members, the loyalty that brand had, the brand equity, which is a big thing on a balance sheet for any business, is the brand equity they built. He used that brand equity to leverage and start new companies as well. So are you building a brand? Are you delegating, number one, so far? And number two, are you building a brand that you can then leverage off? If you create a brand, you have the opportunity to be able to leverage. We just spoke about Uber before. Well, Uber are leveraging their brand. Uber came out with cars. Now you've got everything with Uber. You've got Uber Eats and you've got everything else they keep rolling out on the back of an Uber because they've got a brand, they're leveraging that brand. So create a brand, not just because it's going to help your current business and your offering, but because you're going to be able to leverage that for other brands as well. Number three, the humor in marketing. One of the things I always loved about Sir Richard, he was always looking for the funny side of marketing. He was always looking at how can he create something funny, because he knew that even before social media was a big thing, we would share posts around. He knew that if you could create something funny, that it was something that people are going to talk about, they're going to share as well. So here's some of the things that he did. This is him dressing up when he launched the new uniform for the flight attendants. He decided to go and dress in the female version of the flight attendant uniform, lipstick and all. And why did he do it? Because not only is everyone else behind here think it's very funny, but also because he has the ability to be able to go out there and get into the mainstream media by doing it. So launching his collaborations with AirAsia, which is one of the founders in the background here of AirAsia, plus launching the collaboration with what these guys have done as well. He was able to do that and create something funny. Most founders would stand up and say, we've got a new partner, let's launch the new foundation, let's launch the new the new foundation of our relationship. Let's launch a new airline. Whereas he went out there and said, I'm going to dress up in a skirt, put some lipstick on, and show that anyone can wear this. He even has heels on. Look, he's got heels on there. Look at those heels. Another one, stiff competition. So he goes out and he stands on the wing of his Boeing plane and he says, we're going to come out and we're going to go up against everybody else that's going to try and challenge us in the airways, lifts up his kilt and shows his underwear that says stiff competition. You don't need me to explain why, but you understand that that's why. That then circled right around the world, made headlines. He used humor in his marketing, right? He used humor in his marketing. This one of my personal favorites. This is the London Eye. The London Eye is a big structure in London, and it's sponsored by British Airways. And British Airways were a part of this sponsorship to get the British Airways London Eye up and running, which is an observatory wheel, right? We have one here in Melbourne. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's broken, right? But we have one, don't we? We have one, right?
Sometimes it works, sometimes it's broken, but it's always there.
It's always there. So it's kind of like art now, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas theirs really works, right? So anyway, they were trying to get this thing erect and they couldn't, and it wasn't up when it was supposed to be. So then what Sir Richard did, because he owns a blimp company, is he scrambled a blimp and he made that blimp go above the London Eye, and it says BA can't get it up because they couldn't erect the London Eye. And he made that sit there for 3 days. It made international news. It went everywhere. And everyone saw that British Airways was a laughingstock because they were the major sponsors of the London Eye and they couldn't erect the London Eye. Why? It's funny. We're still talking about it and it grows their brand. And remember, their brand is about fun. Their brand is about humor. Their brand is about service, and it goes directly into their brand values as well. He used humor in marketing as well. Next, the power of disruption. You know, he always said when he's launching a business, he said, well, what can I do that's going to be a disruptive player in something? Like, what can I do to go against the norm? Some of us, remember when Virgin Blue was launched. Why did Virgin Blue in Australia do so well? Because he took the idea of air travel, stripped away all the costs that we were having to pay, like for a meal, right? All that stuff we had to do. And he said, well, if you want a meal, how about you pay for it and we'll charge you less to go onto the aircraft? And all these things that they did when Virgin Blue was a discount carrier in the beginning, like a Tiger Air is now, or an Air Asia around the world. He said, well, what can we do to discount the pricing and take things out? That is how they got into the industry. Now they've built themselves back up to be a middle player, a middle to a higher end player from what they were before. But he said, how do we disrupt the market? And all these companies that come in are all looking how they can disrupt the market. Every one of these is saying, how can I go in to do something a bit different? He never launches a business into something without saying, how can we disrupt what everyone doesn't like? You can walk around and say, what do you really not like about that industry? Just like Netflix did. Netflix said, what do you not like about the idea of having to rent videos and DVDs? And what's the first thing people said? Late fees. What's the second thing people said? Having to go and drop it back off and say, at Video Easy, here's the video. At Blockbuster, here's the video. Everyone didn't like that because you always got into a fight with your spouse on who didn't take the videos back on time, right? And then you'd go in, you'd want to rent new things, and you owe 50 cents for the overcharge fee. You can tell that I still have some deep-seated issues with this. So Netflix said, we're going to go launch something. They disrupted the thing, right? And this is the same concept of what Sir Richard Branson does as well. So he looks at the art, right, of leverage and the power of that. He looks at the power of disruption and says, let me get into a market when I see that I can disrupt that market in some kind of a way, right? And the last thing is, living in obligation, right? And for me, I talk about this a lot in my own training. So some of you might have come to a boot camp with me before or come and hang out with me before. I talk about, living in obligation. For Sir Richard, it's the obligation around giving. He's very, very big on Virgin Unite. Anytime I've ever spoken with him on an event, I know that the promoters have paid his Virgin Unite Foundation fee for him to actually come and speak. He's not, pocketing it himself. It's going to his foundation to go and speak. He's very, very, very big on how he's going to leave this world. And he has a deep obligation for giving as well. And you know what? Giving is a really important thing for your soul. It's already also a very, very good thing for your business to be involved in as well, because it's a humanistic element to what you do. And overall, what's the point in making money and trying to do great things in this world if you can't help others in the situation that they're in to be in a better situation? And he's big on this. And you know, he put together the Elders, which is a great community trying to help tackle some of the biggest changes in the world. He's donated huge amounts of money, and he spends most of his time now really around his Virgin Unite charity, really trying to grow that and help more people as well. So the obligation to giving is a massive thing for him. So there's a lot of lessons that we can learn from a lot of great entrepreneurs and founders and business people out there. But today, right now in the Mentor Minute here in Aaron Live, I want to share with you one of my mentors and just some of the things that I picked up from studying Sir Richard Branson over the years. So I hope you guys took something from that. That's the Mentor Minute. Don't forget, you got questions about that or anything else, put it in the comments, or you can email studio@AaronSansoni.com with hashtag Aaron's Advice. At the end of Aaron Live, I'm going to be able to speak about that. I'm going to come and address some of the questions that you guys have as well. There you go. The email's up on your screen there, and you guys can put them in the comments as well. Send us your questions in, and I'll be able to answer those at the end of Aaron Live. So that is our Mentor Minute. We'll be back in just a moment after we'll let you guys know about something really, really cool that we're running at the moment. And if you are sitting there saying, how do I really make 2019 the year for me that I decide to dominate, I decide to own the year? Well, I've got something for you. See you in a moment. Hey everybody, AaronSansoni here. I'm a best-selling author, I'm a global speaker, and I'm known as the guy that builds empires. I've been recently nominated for Entrepreneur of the Year and Australian of the Year, but my success aside, I've been able to help 300,000 people over my last 11 years to be able to live a life by design and not by default. So listen, join me for a webinar live stream right around the world called Own Your 2019. I'm going to show you how you can absolutely dominate your year. So click the button now and join us for this live event. And we are back. So we're talking about the Own Your 2019 campaign right now. So here's the deal. For those of you that missed that message on there, is that if you're looking to own your 2019, go to ownyour2019.com.au now. And here's what I've decided to do. It's Christmas. It's the time for giving. So here's the deal. If you want to own that year, I put some time aside for my success coaches. They're my team that are trained in my training, understand how to work out where you are right now, and can give you some advice on how to make sure 2019 is your year. So I've asked my team to put some time aside for free to have a conversation with anybody that really wants to learn how to own their 2019, maybe have the business or life that they want, and give them some ideas and strategies, and also trying to find out what the gaps are and see if we can maybe help you to fill those gaps in 2019 as well. So listen, if you want to grab your complimentary, which means free, strategy session with one of my success coaches, go to ownyour2019.com.au now. Fill in the form, give us all the details you can so we can help you. You're going to get assigned to one of my success coaches, which are live on the phones right now. I can see them, and they're going to be there to help you right now. So listen, in reality, they're half-an-hour sessions. They don't have 25 hours in a day that they can work. So these guys here are very, very limited before Christmas. So if you want to do that, get onto it right now. Ownyour2019.com.au for yourself, or maybe even share that with a friend or a business partner that needs to have one of these strategy sessions to work out what they want to do. Share that with them now. Jump onto the website, and for those lucky ones that we select now, you're going to get a half-an-hour strategy session with one of my success coaches, which are going to help you to own 2019. Because let's face it, if you don't make any changes right now, you're not going to own 2019. You're going to roll into the year. You're going to eat too much over Christmas. You're going to have some fireworks at New Year's. You're going to go, oh my God, it's already January 1st. And you're going to fall into the year. You're going to wake up in April and say, what am I going to do about the year? And then you're not going to get anywhere. Do something about the year. Decide you want to own it. That's the first step. And then take massive and immediate action. Have a conversation with one of my team, and let's just try and dominate the year. That is the Own Your 2019. Go now to ownyour2019.com.au. Okay, cool. Next up, you can give it a round of applause. Everyone trying to yeah, everyone's been buzzing. I tell you now in the office about that as well. So excellent. Next up for us here in Aaron Live is going to be chatting to you guys about the WTF. Do you know what that stands for? What? Jackie Chan. What does it stand for? Go, you can do it. Go.
What the fuck?
There you go. WTF. Right, so every time we do Aaron live, do you want to try it again because that was pathetic? One more time. 1, 2, 3.
What the fuck?
There you go. They were happy with that, right? They weren't happy with the first attempt. So the WTF, right? What the fuck? What's going on? I'll always choose. You know what? Show that graphic one more time, just for nostalgic sake.
Okay.
For nostalgia.
Yeah.
Go on. We love this. Jackie Chan. Jackie. I still remember when we showed that the first time. I made you play it like 8 times, right? So WTF. This is when I'm looking at something. And you know what? There's been a lot of WTFs. Recently. I had to really juggle to decide the WTF that I wanted, right? But here's what the WTF that I decided to land on is right now, and I've been talking about this when it comes to generational change within the workforce. You know, we are having generational changes. You've got 20-year-olds that are coming to a workforce that don't act like the 20-year-olds that used to be in the 80s or the 60s or the 50s. They shouldn't. They're different people in a different generation. And what we're seeing right now is culturally, we're not keeping up. Statistically, we're not keeping up. Now, we'll show you why. PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, just released a new research about what happened in 2013. They did a follow-up research in 2018. They were speaking to people in workplaces about culture, and they asked a simple question. They said, are you happy with the culture, and do you think there's great culture in your company? 51% of those people said that they needed to change in 2013. Now 80% in 2018, only 5 years later, are saying that the culture has a major issue and needs to change. 80% of the workforce are saying that the culture needs to change. That is a big WTF. How are you supposed to grow an empire, do good in the world, have fun, and just enjoy what you do if the culture is shit? You need to do something about it. Culture changes. As you bring new people into the business, products change, environments change, the economy changes, everything tweaks within a business and changes, and strategically things change. You've got to recalibrate the culture. And if 81% of all of the major companies surveyed, 80% of the staff members say the culture, it has to massively shift, we need to start paying attention to this across the board right now. That's a major issue. And you know what? Here's the number one takeaway they said. They said the problem is, the number one problem is this, the level of management, right? I wish I had a whiteboard. I had a whiteboard. Next year, we're going to get Aaron a whiteboard, right? I had bigger and better things, right? The point is that the management had multiple layers, right? You've got your C-suite, which are your CEOs, your COOs, your whatevers, right? Then you've got your, I don't need it, it's right, mate. Mate's like, I'm going to get it for you, right? She's like, I'm going to get it. My team know, right? They're going to get some. But you got all these layers of management, right? Now, what happens is that the CEO says house culture. The manager who is so far removed, or the executive so far removed from the person that's on the phone every day, you know, that makes, you know, $30,000 a year, they're so far removed from that the manager says, oh, it's fine. Because if they say it's not, then their job looks stupid. They look like they're not delivering. So you set up this whole process where they're being fed, based on statistics, false bullshit information about the culture within the business, because maybe the CEO can't remember the last time he or she went all the way downstairs, hopped on the phone, or had a conversation with someone that's just joined the company, or went out to the store and sold the product that they're selling, or went and got involved in the sharp end of the business and understood the culture. That's why we have Undercover Boss. We should do more Undercover Boss. Don't you think? Undercover boss, right? But just to get the culture of what's happening in the business as well. But it's interesting that A, the statistic is interesting, and B, the number one reason they found their research being that the managers are feeding bullshit up to the executives. That's very interesting too. So get your culture right. And what's a better time to do that? Get them drunk at Christmas parties. Great. All right, done deal. That is the WTF. All right, next up, we have love it.
Other side of the coin, baby.
Other side of the coin. All right, you get a round of applause. Now, I like this one. You know what? I got to tell you, this one, I really like this one, right? So the guy by the name of Ryan Hartshorn is his name, right? Not Hawthorne, Hartshorn. And he's from South Hobart, and they've got a cheese mill. Is that what you call it? A mill, cheese mill. They make cheese.
They make cheese.
Yeah, whatever they're called. So cheese people. There you go, cheese people. That's also not being racist, or it's not being derogative. It's
very inclusionary.
It's inclusion. That's what I was looking for. That's the word. It's very inclusionary. That's why Connor's around. So they make cheese. Now, here's what happened. They were making cheese, and for some reason they weren't doing very well in their cheese sales, right? And their sales were declining, and one of the families, about 3 or 4 families involved in this, one of the guys in the family, Ryan, he said, I want to try and create something to start increasing the income here. So what he did was he decided to have a look at this whole distill idea, right? So distilling, alcohol. And he decided to go and create his own vodka. And what he wanted to do is he wanted to learn how to take the sheep milk and all the things that happen through the process of making sheep cheese, and look at how he could use those ingredients to make his own vodka, right? So he spent like 12 months researching this thing, and he had no one to help him out. He ended up launching his own vodka, which is now called Sheep Whey vodka. Now it's also gin and a whole bunch of liqueurs. And he decided to launch this thing in Tasmania only a couple of years ago. Now this has gone, is the Australian word berserk? It is, isn't it? Berserk. I've not used berserk in a long time.
Bonkers.
What do you call it? Bonkers, berserk. No one, any international guest will understand berserk, right? It has grown like wildfire. All I have is the Australian expressions for this thing, right? So it's gone really, really well. So their business, right? Ryan Hearts on Business, their business now has exploded. These guys are on really well. They have actually just won to 2018, I want to get the award name right, the World Drink Awards, the best vodka in the world in 2018 in only 2 years, right? So here's the best part. They are using, here's what I loved about, this is why these guys get my love it. Not only have they created a new business out of nothing because they had to create more income, what they've done is they've taken, right, Ryan and the family have taken all of the parts when they were making sheep's cheese that were actually being thrown in the bin, right? All of the offcuts and everything, and they've made the vodka from those bits, which means he says right now to make the vodka, other than the process, the manual process, he has absolutely zero costs of manufacturing because they were using all the stuff that they were throwing away from manufacturing sheep's cheeses, which is amazing, right? So this has now completely dwarfed all of their other product sales now. What I love about these bottles is that they hand write on these bottles. They're actually handwritten. So we'll show that photo again. That's actually the... That's actually been hand drawn. They hand write the label on every one of their vodkas as well. So it's really, really cool. So he's got, it's a high-end vodka. He's got a lot of experience in gourmet and high-end food. So he used that to his advantage here. And a funny story is I saw these guys maybe 6 months ago when I was in Hobart. So I was in Hobart on a family holiday. What I thought was an innocent family holiday. And so I was there on an innocent family holiday and I saw these guys in a store, and I went up to my hotel room in Hobart and there was something happening which I later found out is called dark mofo, which some of you might know what that is. Our metal drummer in the studio knows exactly what that is. And so I'm there with my 5-year-old, my 1-year-old at the time, my wife, having a beautiful holiday in Hobart, and at midnight or something, there's this whole procession of this whole carnival go by of devil worshippers going by my hotel with all these, like, the devils on the thing. They've got all the drummers, everyone's dressed in like ghouly outfits. My daughter's waking up going, what's going on over there? And I'm trying to shelter her eyes from what's going on. So it turns out I stayed right across from where the festival was. So we were in dark mofo with children, which turns out isn't a really great thing. So my wife had to do some kind of reverse voodoo magic to get all the voodoo spells off them. But moral of the story, this is when I found their vodka. They were actually advertising there as well. So these guys are done really, really, really well. They're doing soaps now and a bunch of other things. And I give them my Love It Award because not only did Ryan and his family launch a new business, but the way that they did it, they found something else they could do when their sales of their cheese were slipping. They used the products that they already had, and they've dominated. To release a brand of something and be crowned the #1 in the world within only 2 years, that's a pretty massive feat. So let's give these guys a round of applause. I love it. Well done. Cool, huh? Excellent. All right, next up, we have our second final section here, and we call this our top 10. All right, let's do it. Last top 10 of 2018.
Love it. Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's do it. So here's our this is our 2018. We decided to do something of the whole year because you got to do that, right? It's the end of the year. You got to kind of get your summaries for the year. So this is our one, which is our marketing fails of 2018. Some very interesting ones in here as well. So let me give you my top 10. Let's start with number 10. Number 10 of the marketing fails of 2018 goes to number 10. Dolce & Gabbana, fashion brand. These guys did a video campaign, some of you might remember it, and that featured a Chinese woman struggling to eat Italian food with chopsticks. Followers were quick to call this ad out for being tone deaf and racist. Then leaked screen captures of a private Instagram message from the Italian designer, from Stefano Gabbana, who's one of the D&G founders, revealed that he made derogatory comments about Chinese people. The brand cancelled its Chinese fashion show, and the designer had to apologize after the new lines that they created were taken off Net-a-Porter and JD.com. So these guys definitely had a big marketing fail. Although I got to tell you, it's like a minefield these days, isn't it? Trying to market. Minefields, right? There you go. D&G, don't be racist.
I feel like
allegedly.
The advert itself is like, okay, maybe.
I know.
Maybe a little distasteful.
I know.
But then the fact that he's dissing China.
I know. He's like dissing China. Hey guys, you guys suck. I'll see you next week for the fashion show though, yeah? Buy my shit, yeah? Buy my shit, yeah. Good. Number 9 goes to Connor's favorite beer, is it?
I've actually had this beer, and it's one of the few beers that I can actually.
There you go. He's like a pale ale kind of guy or something like that. Some unique-y type beer. New age people, huh? 20-year-olds, not 20, something in your 20s, right? Heineken, number 9. The beer company tone deaf commercial landed in hot water in March. The 30-second ad showed a bartender sliding a beer past 3 people, all of whom were African American. And the slogan said, it slid all the way across a bar to a woman with the 3 African American men. And the slogan said, sometimes lighter is better.
The woman was white, by the way. That's the
woman was white, right? That's why it doesn't work. How do they not pick that up? How does not one person sitting there on the cameras go, I think we've got a problem with the actors. Why can't they do what everyone else does? Have a white person, have an African American, and have an Asian. Like, why can't you just do those? Like, everyone has to be, right? And an Indian. There you go. And there's an Indian in the studio, right? You have to have an Indian in there as well. I thought by saying Asian, I covered that whole thing, right? So there you go. All right, number 8, Miele. So, and there's 2 International Women's Days that have made this list, by the way. Number 1 International Women's Day gag, German appliance maker Miele, which do make good things, so don't fuck up too much, shared a Facebook photo on their page of the 1950s era stereotype of 4 white women looking excited over a dishwasher. And the company deleted it after a few hours after major backlash by having an homage to the 50s, where every piece of advertising was funny, although derogatory. Miele. Number 7. This one is very funny. Number 7 goes to Domino's. Now, here's what Domino's did. In September, the Russian Domino's franchise launched a Domino's Forever campaign. This is one of my favorites. Now, what you had to do to qualify for the Domino's Forever campaign, right? You got 100 free pizzas a year for the next 100 years if you won this campaign. So the Domino's Forever campaign said that you had to, so 100 pizzas over the next 100 years, okay, right? So imagine that. You're set for life, right? You have a pizza that lasts you 3 days. You never have to buy anything, right? So 100 pizzas a year for 100 years. So to enter the campaign, you had to tattoo the Domino's logo on somewhere of your body. Now, they launched this campaign with the idea of having this campaign over the next 3 months to everybody, and they launched this campaign. Now, they launched the campaign, and within, what does it say here? Now this went all over social media, obviously, right? So after hundreds of social media posts with people that had inked themselves within hours of this going out there, some people really need some fucking Domino's, right? They then released a 350 person cap because they didn't have a cap to begin with. A 350 person cap. The promotion was supposed to run for months, but the company had to cancel it within days because 350 people within days had a tattoo to say of Domino's tattoo. And when they released it, they didn't actually put any prerequisites. So some people made like a tiny tattoo, which is a real tattoo, on their body somewhere. So they released like, you have to have it this big and all this kind of stuff. So there you go, 350 people within days tattooed their body to get free pizza.
I 100% have friends who would have done that.
Yeah,
I think people would have done it just because it's funny and cool anyway. Like the shit that people get on there anyway, right? There you go.
Imagine going to Domino's and being like, I got it.
So the fail wasn't the tattoo. The fail was like not realizing how many people wanted your wanted your food as well. There you go. Love it.
That was a stupid I did not think that through.
I know.
Domino's.
I know. I feel like somebody in the band would have got that for you, Connor, right?
Oh, 100%.
So number 6 goes to Mickey D's McDonald's. So to show solidarity for the International Women's, the second time, International Women's Day in March, McDonald's flipped their M upside down to make it a W for the iconic arches, a gesture that was not well received as the fast food giant faced accusations about the allegations of widespread sexual harassment against women in the workplace. All those allegations as well. And they were fighting against the minimum wage talks and the imbalance in pay for men and women. So they tried to do a interesting gesture. That would have cost a lot of money to flip those around as well, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Can you imagine?
But it's like, that all could have been money spent actually addressing
and paying
the discrepancy
in pay, right?
In their own company.
They could have launched to say, we've eradicated,
Yeah.
as of this day, we've eradicated, unfair pay for male and female.
Yeah.
But instead, we'll spend millions of dollars on flipping our arches.
You're welcome, women.
You're welcome. Stop complaining, you're welcome. Right, next. All right, next, this is number 5. For the once in Aaron Live. These guys make Aaron Live. I've been trying to keep them away. Second? Oh, no, we did speak about her.
Yeah.
Kendall and Kyle Jenner, two of the Kardashians. So,
A bit of applause for them.
So applause for them. Right,
I'll give them a slow clap.
I'll give them applause purely from a business sense, other than this particular thing.
Yeah.
So they released something to showcase their favorite musician to earn a bit of spare change. That's what the lawyers said. The celebrity sisters attempted to market their new line of $125 t-shirts on their Instagram, featuring a variety of musicians and deceased rappers like Notorious B.I.G., shout out, Tupac, shout out. The only problem here is that they had zero permission to do so. It's called royalties, and you need to pay it if you're going to use somebody on your shirts. And they had to pull them back after they sold lots and lots and lots of t-shirts. That's a bit of a fail, especially if you're worth $1 billion. You should know these things, right? Or your lawyer should be fired. Someone needs to be fired for not saying, you can't just say, here's Tupac, here's Biggie, pay me money for this as well. There you go, marketing fail. Next, some of you guys might know this, Jeremy Scott, designer, in June 2008, new campaign featured models with strange skin colors, blue and red. No one had much issue with that except the caption. When they posted this on the Instagram account, it said the only thing illegal about this alien is how good she looks. Now, this problem with this was timing, because they released this right as their massive fight with the US and Mexico border was happening, of which they were really calling out everyone aliens crossing the border as well. So these had huge backlash, and again was deleted as well for timing as well. Number 9. Number 8, or how much is this? Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 to go. Number third on the list, Snapchat. Who uses Snapchat? Do you use Snapchat?
I do.
Snapchat? Really? Yeah, I'm interested to find out who uses Snapchat. I'm gonna say my mum does. So in 2009, Snapchat, in 2009, the news broke about Chris Brown, beating up Rihanna and all that kind of fun stuff that they did, which made news. When they get back together again?
Yeah.
Didn't they do something?
They did a song together.
What was the song called?
I can't remember.
We're okay again?
Yeah, something fucking stupid.
He'll change.
Yeah.
It was a once off.
Nah.
It'll never happen again.
Those pictures are rough.
So anyway, Chris Brown did his thing terribly to Rihanna. She should have left him, whole other argument. March 2008. 2018, Snapchat posted an ad for one of their apps, right? And the app was called Would You Rather. So based on popularity game, right, where you can choose Would You Rather, right? We remember this. This game was old. Yeah. Snapchat stole it from. This is a classic game. This is a classic game, right? And so they did a Would You Rather, and one of the questions was, would you rather slap Rihanna or punch Chris Brown?
Just a bit distasteful.
Just a bit distasteful, I think. So Snapchat issued an apology facing backlash, saying they claimed the ad was approved in error and it was removed straight away. Rihanna, however, was not having any of the apology, which I think is a bit distasteful because she got back with him. So how can you be annoyed? I don't know. She did a song with him after it. But why would you do a song with him?
I feel like the worst part of, or like...
If it was, because I'm not up on this, right? If it was actually like, was he like charged, like he definitely did it?
Yeah, of course.
100%, right? So it's not like conjecture.
Yeah, no.
So if he definitely did it and they still did a song after it.
I don't know, man.
He felt bad about it.
Well, you just hope so.
Oh, yeah. I hope he doesn't feel okay about it.
I'm sure he felt
I know. I hope he felt bad about it. That's a whole nother story.
The irritating part about this ad as well is that, of course, everyone would rather punch Chris Brown. It's a stupid question.
It's a stupid question too, right? You'd rather do that, right?
Between the would you rather.
I know, right? Okay, the second last one, right? Number 9, right? Well, we're going up 9 or 2? Number 2. Let's go number 2, right? We're going both ways. H&M, these guys did another ill taste, not even timing. In January, this one made news. It really made commercial news. In January, fashion giant H&M released an image on a website of a young African-American child modeling a green sweatshirt. This included on the sweatshirt a logo that said, "Coolest monkey in the jungle." Customers were outraged. Twitter called the company for its lack of cultural sensitivity. Really? Really?
How do these things get through?
What fucking moron in that marketing department let that go? At some stage, someone must have picked up on that, right?
Oh, surely.
All right, number 1. Who's ready for number 1? Number 1. Who's ready for number 1? Number 1. Right, here we go. Doritos.
Yeah.
Some people love Doritos in here, right? Chris Brown and Doritos. You can tell the people that are in the studio. PepsiCo was apparently considering a lady Doritos, right? Right? Hold the image. A lady Doritos, right?
I should point out, this is a mock.
This is a mock. Yeah. Yeah, this is there. So they did it. They were so Lady Dorito. So listen, Indra Nooy, who I have a lot of time for. In fact, she's actually in my book, right? Incredibly smart woman. Not on this occasion, wasn't received well. She was in an interview and she said a lot. As you watch a lot of the young girls eat chips, they lick their fingers with glee, right? And they reach the bottom of the bag and the poor little broken pieces into their mouth. Women, that's what men do, right? Women, I think, love to do the same, but they don't. They don't want to crunch loudly in public. They don't want to reach into the bottom of the bag and get the crumbs out. They don't want to pull the crumbs. They don't want to lick their fingers. I'm wondering which women they're speaking to right now. Yeah. So she says that we need to release a female and a female-centric range of snacks as a possibility. A female-centric range of snacks. They're brainstorming women-specific snacks that could be marketed and packaged to women specifically. Sounds to me like the 40s and 50s are coming back here. As a bizarre conversation sparked with plenty of jokes, including this, and anger across social media. PepsiCo said issued a statement that said that we are not making ladies Doritos. Doritos said we already have Doritos for women. They're called Doritos. Best response ever. I just want to know how uncomfortable that interview is when Indra is kind of going, women, they don't like to, eat. And women are like saying, if there's crumbs in the bottom of that thing, I'm going to eat what's in the bottom of that.
The women I know
I don't know anyone. Can I just say, you got the wrong target market, because anyone that won't eat Doritos like that won't buy Doritos, I think. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like if you're going to buy Doritos, you're going to eat the whole of the Doritos, right? Doesn't make sense. That is my top 10 marketing fails of 2018. Give that a round of applause. Go on. Alrighty, now we get into our favorite part, is where I get to do some questions as well. So if you guys are on Instagram, you're watching this on Facebook, and you might be sending your questions in at stu@AaronSansoni.com. We're about to start now with Aaron's advice. Last time in 2018, sad but true. Last one. All right, Connor, you've been fielding lots of questions on social media and also on stuart@AaronSansoni.com. So give me.
I'm gonna chuck that. Give me a sec. I'm gonna chuck that email address up there again.
stuart@AaronSansoni.com if you've got some questions as well. We have to answer a couple before we wrap up the show.
Okay, so this is one that you could definitely help with. From Pam, says my former business partner cheated me out of my portion of the business recently. How do I go about building trust for others again? Because I believe that no one makes it alone.
Number one, buy a packet of female Doritos.
Yeah.
That always helps in these situations, just to see you through. So, okay, let's talk about partners doing the wrong thing. Welcome to life, welcome to business. People get cheated on, people break up, people start a business with great intentions together, business partners don't deliver on what they say they're going to do at times. All that is reality is that happens, Pam, that sometimes your business partner is not going to deliver on their end of the bargain and not going to do what they're supposed to do. So for me, I agree with you that I don't think you have to have business partners to be successful, but I think you've got to have the right people around you to be successful, whether they're business partners, whether they're team members. Now, if you're starting off, the reason why business partners might be important is because you can either hire a staff member for X amount of dollars to work in your business, or you can pay them less, or nothing, and bring them on as a business partner to own a share of something you're trying to build. A lot of the time when I'm getting pitched to in my VC firm, where people are pitching to me ideas, they're coming to me wanting me to give them money for something that doesn't exist, that's worth nothing, as opposed to coming to me or others and saying, you know what, the business is trying to get off the ground, I can give you a slice of that business for free because you've got a skill set that I don't have, and let's build this thing together. So if you're in the position where you're trying to start a business, do you need to have business partners? Not necessarily. But if you're missing skills you need to make that business work, you've only got two options. One, find a business partner to fulfill that need, or two, hire somebody that has the skill set to be able to do those things that you need to do as well. The fact that you've had someone to do wrong by you, that's life. If you have someone that cheats on you, what does that mean? You never have a partner ever again? It just means that you understand the circumstance, you learn what things that there are to learn from that, you heal and you move on from that. The same as business as well. You have to learn to trust. I have had business partners that haven't worked out. I've had, with all the good intentions, I've had business partners that do the wrong thing by me. I've had staff members that do the wrong thing. I've even had one of my accountants embezzle across my companies. That's not fun. And I had to still trust my financial controls and accountants, onwards after that happened years later, which I still do to this day, because if I didn't trust having a CFO or, finance directors or having an accountant, then I would want to control everything and go and pay every single bill and make sure all the money is going to be, in my control across all of my companies. I could have stopped trusting, Pam, when that happened to me and somebody embezzled on me years ago in my company, but I didn't do that. I found a way to trust again and move forward. So the reality is you need to learn how to trust again. You need to look at what you don't know in your business. You need to fill that gap with either investors or business partners or team members as well. So you need to learn the lessons though. Maybe there's some lessons in there. Maybe you were so excited about starting the business you didn't sit down and work out, what you should have done better. Maybe they did something wrong by you because you didn't set any boundaries to begin with. What are the lessons you can learn in that and learn from that, but definitely going to need to trust again. You will definitely need to trust again.
Cool. All right. Another one I think could help people from Jansen says, I've started posting a lot more on social media recently for my business and even doing some Facebook Lives. I have, however, been getting some criticism and some haters in the comments. However, I do feel like some of the feedback is not without, good ground. So how would I tell the difference between a hater and constructive criticism? Really
good question. Number one, haters gonna hate. Cue Taylor Swift. No? Okay. We don't have to ask you. So haters gonna hate. It's part. Don't try and avoid haters, right? The haters are going to hate. It's social media and the internet in general that allows people to be anonymous and or even just to be assholes in general. What it does, it allows people to voice opinions that are not warranted. And unfortunately in society, and here in Australia too, is that we have tall bopper syndrome, which means that if you're advertising at all, you are trying to get ahead in somewhere, you're going to get haters, you're going to get doubters. You get them in your life, let alone if you get them in you're trying to create promote a business. So the reality is this. Jansen or Jensen, is it? Jensen. You're going to... Jensen or Jansen? Jansen, right? You are going to have people that hate on everything. Every product or service you could ever think about in the entire world or person that you look up to has haters, has doubters, and has disbelievers. But they also have lovers and tribe members as well, right? So for you, if there's feedback in there that you think that you can learn from, I'm open to that, right? It depends on what you're doing though. Like if you're marketing a product, right? You market the phone and the feedback is that, the lock screen's not working, Well, that's feedback that Apple could take on the phone. If you're the product, if you're the brand and people are just being haters on you and telling you how you could do, you should do this instead of doing that for you as an individual person, it's different, right? Because as an individual versus what a product may be. If there's some feedback in there, listen, everyone needs to have a mentor. Everyone needs to have someone they can go to. So if you think there's something in there that is maybe valid, well then I'd bring it up with your mentor, I'd bring it up with your coach or someone that you go to in your life. Because if you've got no one that you go to in life, then you've got a problem anyway. Like every person you look up to in the world has a mentor or a coach, right? So for you, I would say take that feedback that you've been given, speak to people that you trust, that you get your mentoring, your coaching from. I know that I do with my students or all of my coaches that I work with that help coach other people through my methodologies. We have to look to see if there's any basis in that, and what they might think. But the majority of cases, they're just hating on you. 99% of the time it's just hate. If there's one or two things in there that's feedback on a product or a service you can work on, you might want to take that on board. But I'll probably tell you that most of that is just them being assholes, which can happen. And, if you're already a bit, not insecure, but you're new to branding yourself, you're going to be more sensitive anyway. So if someone says something, you might go, oh my gosh, maybe it's true, I'm going to take it to heart. You have to develop that thick skin. You have to learn to. That's just the reality of life, let alone the life when you're in the public eye in some way. It's just part of what life's going to be. So Jansen, haters are going to hate. If there's some advice, some things there you think that might be warranted, I would take that to your coach or your mentor and have a conversation with them to see whether that's something that you need to develop on.
Cool. We've got time for one more, so let's go with Owen. Asks, what's your opinion on electronic currency? I'm assuming he means like cryptocurrency and stuff.
Yep.
Do you believe that eventually everything will be digitalized?
Yeah, okay, so I think that's two completely separate things. Blockchain, right, which is cryptocurrencies, and digital wallets are two different conversations, right? Cryptocurrency, I've kind of stayed out of cryptocurrency. I know people have made huge sums of money. I don't really have anything massively against it. To me, cryptocurrency or something that is like any kind of blockchain, for me, that's an asset class. So like any asset class, how much money do you put into it? Do you put $10,000 into it? Do you put no money into it? You've got real estate, or asset classes. You've got fixed income. You've got residual. You've got all these different ways that you can make money in this world. Cryptocurrency is just another way to do that. So, would I put all of my money into a cryptocurrency, into blockchain? No, I wouldn't. But would I dabble? Yeah, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't dabble, but it wouldn't be my main focus of making money. So, do I think it's going to be the future? Look, I think it already is here, whether it's the future or not. I certainly wouldn't bank all of my dollars on putting into something like that. But I don't have anything massively against it. For me, it's just an asset class. I know that Bitcoin, for example, has gone up extremely well, and it's also crashed down extremely well. So that's an asset class that's had some volatility. You got to decide whether in your life you're okay to have volatility when it comes to your money. You got a certain amount of money, you can have some money that's going to be volatile. But I'd say most people want to have a evenly geared portfolio of stable money that's growing, like a job or a business or, real estate, and then some kind of let's see how we go, kind of stuff as well. So buying into a stock or cryptocurrency. The second question is around digital, right? Digital wallets and currencies, where you walk into a store, you go, my thumb pad goes on there and it charges me as an individual out of my bank account. Yes. 100% that is going to be the way of the future. Digital currency, I think, will be a cashless society within probably a decade. So anyone that's has money under their mattress. I'm not talking about ethnics here. I'm talking about everybody. I'm not just specifically talking about ethnics here, but anybody that has money under them. I say that because my wife's Macedonian. I know what happens in these backgrounds, right? And so it's going to be part of it. It's going to be, so digital currency, it's already happening. Amazon stores, you already walk in, you walk out, it scans you, it knows who you are. You don't have to pay any money. You don't have to scan a card. You don't have to show your phone. You walk in, it scans you, it knows who you are, that you're there. You take something from the shelves, you walk out, it charges you. So I think that's probably how it's going to work a lot of the time, Owen. Digital currency and a cashless society are our future. Will I think that cash will be eradicated permanently? Well, there's a lot of, markets, whether it be black markets and others, that need cash. So I don't think it's going to be eradicated permanently, but I think it's going to be massively going towards digital currencies as well. Definitely. Hence the reason why fintech has been the greatest growing sector in business really in the last 3-4 years, because everyone knows it's heading that way.
Cool. All right.
Cool.
That's all we got time for.
All we got time for.
Thanks so much for the questions.
Hope you guys have learned a ton of stuff from that. This has been the final Aaron Live of 2018. It's been our last one. Next year, in 2019, we are coming back with a whole bunch of new stuff, new shows, new training right here live in the studio. We're doing a huge amount of things happening next year, so don't worry. We will definitely not be leaving you in 2019. I want to give you 2 messages. One is that if you're sitting there saying, I need to own my 2019, that I encourage you to go and grab some time with one of my team right now and go to ownyour2019.com.au. Grab your free strategy session now with one of my coaches. You go do that now. They can put you into one of the spots that we have available before Christmas, and get them to strategize how you can own your 2019. Go and do that now. And my last message is to just thank you all for your support in 2018. Thank you for everybody that donated to the AaronSansoni Foundation and that really were a part of what we did. Thank you for all the support. Thank you to everybody that's made this year amazing, whether you've come and hung out at a live event, whether you've been live streamed with us every single time. Thank you for 2018. And my final thing to say is that 2019 is going to be even bigger and even badder than ever before. So have yourself a Merry Christmas, have a great New Year, and get ready for a massive 2019 because you've seen nothing yet. So live from the studios here at AaronSansoni headquarters, thank you, have an amazing Christmas, New Year, and we'll see you in 2019. Ciao, see you later.